Hey everyone, and welcome. Have you ever looked at a polluted river or a cleared-out forest and just wondered, can we fix this? Can we actually undo some of the damage? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. We're talking about something called restoration ecology, which is basically the science of healing our planet. And let me tell you, it's more important now than ever. So, let's jump right in.
And for all my IGNOU students out there, you're in the right place. This is your super simple guide to Unit 13. We're going to break down every single key concept piece by piece, so it's all crystal clear and super easy to remember, especially when it comes to your exams.
All right, so here's our game plan for today. First, we'll look at our planet's support system. Then we'll get into what restoration ecology actually is. After that, we'll check out the different ways to do it, see some real-world examples, and talk about the awesome positive impacts. And, of course, we'll wrap it all up with a quick summary to lock it all in.
Okay, so first things first. Before you can fix a broken car engine, you kind of need to know how a working engine runs, right? It's the same idea here. Before we can even begin to talk about fixing damaged ecosystems, we first have to understand how healthy ones are supposed to work. This part is all about those basic fundamental processes that keep our planet ticking.
So let's stick with that engine idea. You can think of these ecosystem processes as the engine of our planet. They're all the crucial jobs happening behind the scenes, things like nutrient cycling and the flow of energy. These processes are what keep everything in balance, from the smallest little microbe in the soil all the way up to the giant rainforests. Now, because these processes are running smoothly, we get something amazing called ecosystem services. And honestly, you can just think of these as the free gifts we get from nature. They're broken down into 4 types. First, you've got provisioning services. These are the actual products we get, like food, water, and fuel. Then there are regulating services. These are the benefits we get from the processes themselves, like how forests help regulate the climate or how wetlands purify our water. Third, we have cultural services. These are the non-material good things, like the feeling of peace you get when you're hiking in the mountains. And finally, you have supporting services, which are, well, they're the foundation for all the others, things like nutrient cycling and creating new soil. Without these, none of the others could even happen.
Okay, so now we have a pretty good idea of how a healthy ecosystem is supposed to work. But what happens when it breaks, when things go wrong? And the big question is, how do we help fix it? That's exactly what we're going to tackle in this next section.
Right, this is it. This is the heart of the whole unit. Restoration ecology. It's the science of healing. That's the simplest way to put it. It's all about us actively stepping in, using science to help these ecosystems that have been damaged or even destroyed by human stuff to help them get back on their feet. But you might be thinking, hang on, why do we have to step in? Can't nature just, heal itself? And that's a great question. The problem is, the scale of the damage we've caused is often so huge, so widespread, that nature just can't bounce back on its own. Or at least, not in a time frame that's useful to us or the planet. So, what's causing all this trouble in the first place? Well, there are a few big culprits. First, land degradation, where good, productive land gets turned into wasteland, maybe from too much farming. Then there's population growth. More people means we need more resources, right? And that puts a ton of pressure on nature. We've also got industrialization and urbanization. Our cities and factories create a lot of stress on the environment. And of course, climate change, which brings more extreme weather that batters our ecosystems. And finally, you've got invasive species. These are plants and animals that move into a new area and just take over, pushing out the native ones. All these things combined are just hitting ecosystems way faster than they can recover. Okay, so when we decide to step in and help, there are basically 2 ways we can go about it. The first is active restoration. Think of this like a doctor performing surgery. It's very hands-on. We're out there literally planting trees, reintroducing animals, really getting involved. The other path is passive recovery. This is more like a doctor telling a patient to just get some rest. We remove whatever was causing the damage, maybe we stop a factory from polluting a river, and then we step back and let nature do the healing on its own.
Now, you're going to hear 3 words that sound kind of similar, and they can be a bit confusing. Reclamation, rehabilitation, and restoration. Just think of them as different levels on a ladder of healing. At the very bottom, you have reclamation. This is super basic. It's just about making the land usable again, maybe for farming. One step up the ladder is rehabilitation. Here, we're trying to get some of the ecosystem's original jobs or functions working again. But the top of the ladder, the ultimate goal, is restoration. This is the whole shebang. We want to bring that ecosystem all the way back to its original, healthy state, both in how it works and how it looks.
All right, so we've covered the what and the why.
Now it's time to get our hands dirty and look at the how. What are the actual tools and strategies people use out there in the real world to do this work?
Okay, when it comes to the how, there are really two main philosophies or approaches. First is the ecological approach. This one is all about thinking long-term. The goal is to restore the natural ecosystem. So you use native species, the plants and animals that actually belong there, to build a system that can take care of itself in the long run. Then you have the agronomical approach. This one is way more focused on short-term results, and honestly, economic profit. It's about making the land productive for us, fast. So they might use commercially available seeds that grow quickly, even if they aren't native.
Theory is all well and good, but let's see what this actually looks like in practice. Let's talk about the where. How do we apply these ideas to fix real places, like polluted lakes or damaged forests?
Let's take a polluted lake, for instance. There's a pretty clear step-by-step process to cleaning it up. Step 1, you have to stop the pollution from coming in. So you divert any wastewater that's flowing into it. Makes sense, right? Step 2, you have to clean up the gunk at the bottom. This means dredging up all that nutrient-rich, polluted sludge that's settled there. Step 3, you remove all the extra plants, the macrophytes that are just choking the water and blocking out sunlight. And Step 4, you can get clever and use biological control. For example, if there's an invasive pest like water hyacinth, you can introduce its natural predator, like a specific beetle, to control it. It's like a full-on cleanup mission, from top to bottom.
Okay, what about polluted soil on land? This is where it gets really cool. There's a technique called phytoremediation. The easiest way to think about this is we're using plants as natural vacuum cleaners. Seriously, we plant specific kinds of plants that are really good at sucking up nasty stuff like heavy metals and other toxins right out of the soil. It's an absolutely brilliant low-cost way to clean up contaminated land, because think about the alternative. Digging up and trucking away tons and tons of soil, which is crazy expensive.
And then you have something super complex, like a mangrove forest. You can't just go in and plant trees randomly. It takes some serious planning. You have to get the site selection just right, making sure the tides flow in and out correctly. You have to pick the right tidal time to plant. If you do it at the wrong time, all your baby seedlings just get washed out to sea. You also have to understand the zonation pattern, meaning different types of mangrove trees like to live in different zones, some closer to the sea and some further back. And it all starts with a good nursery, where you grow strong little seedlings to give them the best possible start in life. Okay, I know what you're thinking. This sounds like a ton of work. And it is. So, what's the point? What's the big payoff? Why does this all matter so much? This is the so what section, where we look at all the amazing positive impacts that come from this work.
And let me tell you, the benefits are huge. It's not just about helping plants and animals. The positive effects ripple out into three main areas. First, of course, you get better ecosystem health, but you also get major societal benefits, and it plays a massive role in climate change mitigation.
So let's talk about the benefits for us, for people. For one, these restoration projects create jobs. You need people to do the planting, the monitoring, the maintenance. A restored area, like a beautiful new forest or a clean lake, can also bring in money through ecotourism. And it's pretty obvious, right? A cleaner environment with cleaner air and water just leads to healthier, happier people. It is a total win-win for both nature and society.
And the impact on climate change, it's just massive. Check out this one stat. Grassland soils, just the soil, can hold up to 30% of the entire world's soil carbon. 30%. So restoring these grasslands isn't just a small thing. It's an incredibly powerful way to pull huge amounts of carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere and lock it away in the ground.
Whew, okay, we have covered a lot of ground today. So let's do a super quick summary. This is the remember this part, to make sure all the most important points are fresh in your mind for those exams.
All right, quick revision time for Unit 13. Ready? First, ecosystem services are all the free benefits we get from a healthy planet. Second, restoration ecology is the science of helping nature heal. Third, the main approaches are either ecological, which is good for nature, or agronomical, which is focused on production for us. Fourth, habitat restoration isn't one size fits all. You need specific techniques for different places like lakes or mangroves. And finally, the impacts are a triple win. Good for the ecosystem, good for society, and great for fighting climate change. Got it? For more clear explanations and daily IGNOU videos, subscribe to IGNOU Mind Decoder.